Too much biking this weekend. Oh God, man, don't shoot! Oh, he got me. Thank you for being there for my setup. Those were the final words from Soapy Smith. Let's reset the scene. Soapy, drunk on red-eye whiskey, a Winchester repeating rifle slung over his shoulder, he staggered to the dock to break up the meeting. When he arrived, they were ready for him. 4 guards appointed outside as watch. Frank Reed, a frontiersman from Oregon, the 6-shot resting on his hip, his finger on the trigger. He sees Soapy approaching and issues what was known as a gentleman's warning. It sounded like this. Don't take another step, Smith. This is a private meeting. You guys think that was it? Soapy listened, turned around. Not hardly. Damn you, Reed. You're the root of all my problems. And he grabbed the rifle and he swung it like a club. I guess his big plan was to knock the guard out of the way, maybe off the pier into the drink. Well, he missed because he was in the drink himself, right? So, legal provocation now for Frank Reed, who draws, aims, and pulls the trigger. Click. And that was all. This is not a very good gunfight, is it? In a terrible twist of fate, for Frank anyway, the hammer fell on a faulty cartridge. While he hurried to pull back on the hammer, bringing another round into the chamber, Soapy has seen murder in Frank Reed's eyes. He's regained his balance somewhat, brought his weapon more or less to dead center. The 2 men fired at exactly the same time. Ooh, just like that. Nicely done. Oh, our villain is shot through the heart. It's a gusher. The poor guy's dead before he hits the dock, but it turns out he's the lucky one. Poor Frank Reed takes one right to the gentleman look away. Oh! Oh, no pictures. And for heaven's sakes, no video. Oh, I'm going to be watching this on YouTube.
Right, tonight.
This poor man does not die that day, but rather 12 days later from his wounds. I know. Ladies, I wish you could see the men's faces. The men in the meeting hall, they hear gunfire, they rush out, Soapy is dead, and now they need to contend with his 300 men. So they go after Soapy's gang, who are running for the hills. Fortunately, the hills of Skagway are pretty tricky to run in, and it's about 24 hours while they're all getting rounded up and shipped down south for justice. A lot of chaos, a lot of commotion, and they left Soapy where he was the entire time. 24 hours, the sun set, the sun rose, and there he lied, like this. Finally, the Reverend John Sinclair felt a little pity for him, hired a teamster with some parish funds to get the body to the cemetery, and 3 feet outside of the cemetery bounds, he held Skagway's shortest and least attended service. He opened up the good book and he read, "The way of the transgressor is hard." Amen. I'm going to lunch. All Soapy got. But for Frank Reed, a hero's farewell, my friends. 2,000 people were in attendance that day. They passed a hat collecting money to erect this monument befitting of a hero, don't you think?
Right.
And still after all these years it reads, Frank H. Reed died on July 20th, 1898 at 54, one of the older men in this cemetery. He gave his life for the honor of Skagway. That's our team. No, they're not at all. Totally heartless. Heartless bunch. Either that or you guys are smarter than